The NFL does not like what the Dallas Cowboys are doing, so we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is Dallas Cowboys have Shaq Leonard leaning towards signing over Philadelphia Eagles. The Dallas Cowboys' flirtation with Shaq Leonard during a brief free agency tour that also saw him visit the Philadelphia Eagles is a serious one. And, according to one plugged-in NFL guy, maybe a winning one. I hear he's leaning toward the Cowboys, NFL analyst Baldinger said this week in an interview on 105.3 The Fan. I'm hearing he's favoring the Cowboys at this point. We can tell you the Cowboys' thinking here, on 2 fronts. 1, they do not view Leonard as representative of some glaring need that will be cured. This isn't, to cite a player who some in Cowboys Nation have actually mentioned, like trading for Charles Haley in 1992. A report that claims Dallas views Leonard as a difference maker is not really accurate at all. Leonard, after multiple back surgeries, has faded greatly from his days as a Pro Bowler. But at 28, he can be an effective run stopper here. The Cowboys can find that player, who in Leonard's case also happens to be a classy locker room leader, useful. 2. Proof of that view will be where Leonard's new contract lands. ESPN reported this week that there will be a bidding war between Dallas and Philly for Shaq's services. We can tell you ESPN did not get that information from here inside the Star. Nor, frankly, do we believe they got it from anybody inside Eagles HQ either. But in fact, while Dallas has lost Leighton Vander Esch to injury for the season, the Eagles probably need him more, as thin as they are overall at linebacker. As Baldinger said, I know players on the Eagles that are heavily trying to recruit him. They need him. They've been losing linebackers all year. Leonard has friends and connections on both teams, including with Eagles coach Nick Sirianni, who used to work in Indianapolis. Said Sirianni, I was close with him when we were in Indy. It was good to be able to catch up with him and relive some memories. But also just talk a little bit about what this building is like. Leonard, recently cut by the Colts, is scheduled to make a decision maybe late Sunday after the Eagles play the 49ers, said Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. They said they're going to get back with us this weekend, probably after Philadelphia plays, is my guess. We had a great visit, and that's pretty much the way we left it. CowboysSI.com has been told the decision will come down to attractiveness, with 2 factors to be gauged. Where can he get snaps? And where? With 9-3 Dallas or with 10-1 Philly? Is he more likely to win a Super Bowl ring? Said Baldinger. He's a little measured about this thing. He wants to make the right decision. The Dallas Cowboys could be an ideal landing spot for a 3-time Pro Bowl running back if there was no trade deadline. As suggested by Bleacher Report's David Kenyon, a hypothetical trade that would make sense for the Cowboys is trading for Tennessee Titans running back Derrick Henry. Kenyon argues the idea of Henry as a change-of-pace option for the Cowboys, next to Tony Pollard, combined with the Titans' woeful 4-7 record, would make a potential trade make sense for both teams. Can you imagine Derrick Henry as a change-of-pace option? That's a real Madden-level roster situation. While the 4-7 Tennessee Titans drift toward missing the playoffs, the soon-to-be 30-year-old is also approaching free agency, Kenyon wrote. His contract voids following the season, and the Titans probably should move in a new direction. The idea makes sense considering the Titans' rebuilding direction, Henry's expiring contract, and the Cowboys' lack of dominance in the run game with Tony Pollard as the starting running back. While Pollard has been solid in his first season as a starting running back following the departure of Ezekiel Elliott, he hasn't been spectacular. After the Cowboys ranked 9th in rushing yards and 2nd in rushing touchdowns last season, Dallas ranks 12th in rushing yards and 11th in rushing touchdowns this season. Pollard is averaging 4.1 yards per carry and 4.4 yards per touch with 180 carries on 737 rushing yards this season. Those numbers are solid, but they're a major decline from the 5.2 yards per carry and 5.9 yards per touch he averaged last season as a complementary back. The idea of adding Henry, who could help improve Dallas's ranking of 17th in red zone efficiency, would likely go a long way towards improving the efficiency of the Cowboys' rushing game, as Kenyon notes. Henry remains effective, however, and the Dallas Cowboys could use a half-season jolt. Henry's greatest value is his strength, writes Kenyon. Tony Pollard is a quality back, but he isn't the short yardage and red zone powerhouse that Henry has always been. The second story is the Dallas Cowboys have found their secret that will help them win the Super Bowl. There were plenty of highlights and lowlights for the Dallas Cowboys in their win over the Seattle Seahawks. The game itself was closer than expected, and Dallas was behind for much of the contest. That made for a thrilling finish to the game and some memorable plays. Maybe I'm a bit weird, because my favorite moment in the game was not even a play, but what happened after one. Jake Ferguson has become a key part of the offense with his sure hands, yards after the catch, including the hurdle in this same game, and good blocking. The clip above shows another contribution he makes, and it is important. This was not a moment of good sportsmanship, but a display of dominance. It is a simple fact that nice guys don't always win. Football is literally a game where you are trying to physically and emotionally dominate your opponent. And in that moment, Ferguson was marking his territory and telling the Seattle defense this was his house and that the Cowboys were going to win. It could easily have backfired had things gone just a bit differently, but this time Ferguson walked the walk, catching the go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter. This is the attitude the team needs to win tough ones, and they will absolutely need it when they face the Philadelphia Eagles next Sunday. It hasn't always been there. For many seasons, Dallas had a reputation for softness, crumbling under pressure in hard-fought games like Seattle gave them. This win was the opposite, facing a surprisingly tough effort from the Seahawks and a ton of adversity, including a lot they created for themselves with the struggles of their defense and a big heaping of sloppy mistakes. This edition of the team buckled down and got the job done. There are a lot of tough players on the Cowboys. To me, Ferguson's literal in-your-face behavior was a reflection of that, not just a bit of arrogance. Admittedly, they have not always been as resilient this season, with the first two losses displaying an element of collapse. But in the first Eagles game, they fought hard and were in the game right to the end. It was another example of how the team used the bye. They came out of it with a renewed focus and determination that has led to their 9-3 record and being on the cusp of the playoffs. Dallas will need to continue to call on that as they face the most difficult four-game stretch of the season and try to get as high a seed as possible. They face very slim odds of catching Philadelphia, who continue to lead the entire league. But the fifth seed, where they currently sit, is very achievable and would make the first round a lot easier. And they can learn a bit from their beloved division rivals. While it is arguable that the Eagles' record has a lot of good luck involved, there is no question they have a ton of toughness, repeatedly coming from behind to win games. From a talent perspective, the Cowboys match up well with them. The rematch may well come down to which team wants it the most. Right now, there is little question how badly Dallas wants the win. All this falls in the category of intangibles. It is an often overlooked aspect of the game, but it is vital. Right now, that is also a way the two teams both are strong. While Ferguson provided a bit of a spark last game, this really starts with Dak Prescott. He is not only playing at as high a level as he ever has, and at least as well as any quarterback in the NFL, he is the unquestioned leader of the Cowboys. In his Friday interview on 105.3 The Fan, Jerry Jones described Prescott as a Pied Piper. He speaks and acts, and people follow. It's not just the offense either. The defense and special teams also take their cues from him. Even the coaches do, according to Jones. Players like Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence also contribute a lot of leadership and determination. Others do as well. Some, like Tyron Smith, may be quiet, but their actions speak volumes. Loudly. December is going to be a test of all that. After playing Philadelphia at home, they go on the road against the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins, then close out the month back at AT&T Stadium against the Detroit Lions. None of them are going to be easy. None of them are unwinnable either. It is likely more nail-biters are coming. The talent is definitely there for Dallas, and now the mental fortitude has been demonstrated in gutting out the win over the Seahawks. This is now a Cowboys team with attitude backed up by performance. It is a good place to be. The third story is Dallas Cowboys bench $57 million starter for player on the rise. After being unable to return to his previous production, Michael Gallup appears to be moving down the Dallas Cowboys depth chart. The latest Cowboys news shows that second-year wideout Jalen Tolbert is earning snaps as the team's third wideout ahead of Gallup. ESPN's Ed Werder pointed out this change took place against the Seahawks in Week 13. Tolbert started versus Seahawks on 3-receiver formation with Gallup coming in next play, Werder said on X on December 3, 2023. Clearly seems MG has not been the player since the injury that he was before it. Tolbert is a young player on the rise. Cowboys thought MG would give same production as Amari at half cost. It is important to note that Gallup is still earning playing time within the offense. Gallup's 46% of offensive snaps remains more than Tolbert's 36% and Cavante Turpin's 15%. Tolbert's 37% did top Gallup's 33% of snaps against the Commanders in Week 12. Some of this data has to do with Dallas using a rotation of players in 3-receiver sets now, instead of Gallup solely holding the spot. CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks have solidified themselves as the team's top 2 wideouts as the postseason nears.